What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You're gonna get locked in a closet for up to 18 hours. Yeah, that's right. I talked to the god of closets, and he said he's gonna lock you in one unless you press the like button. So, I would press it. Real talk, though, guys. Today I have a subscriber story that was sent in about an absolutely I almost said a bad word, insane babysitter who just went a little bit too far and got herself not only fired, but potentially like permanently reputation damaged. But hey, whatever, that's just the cost of doing business sometimes. At least you get exposed for being a crazy babysitter the first time and not like on a vacation where you lose kids in the ocean. But regardless, it should be a pretty funny video, so without further ado, let's get into it.
It's absurd, I'm getting to the bag now. Lil' mama and she tryna call me dad now. I don't wanna hear no dumb shit, better pipe down.
Alright, so the person who sent me this story had a mom who had to work a bunch during the summer, and their dad was working too. So during the summer days, they had to go somewhere, and they didn't really like the rec center kid zone thing, which I understand that place always was a little bit sketchy, dude. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about like rec center kid zone in the summer, but every kid who is guaranteed to get a felony at some point in his life is always there, and it's just like a little bit of a scary experience. So his mom was like, all right, well, we'll see if we can find you a babysitter or somebody that can watch you. And one day she comes to him and she says, all right, we found this lady who lives on our street. It should be a good time. She's going to come over tomorrow and meet you, and you guys are going to have a wonderful day while mom and dad are at work. And the kid is like 10 at the time, so they're just kind of like, all right, whatever, because when you're 10, you don't really argue with your mom when she tells you that you got a babysitter. At least I don't feel like most 10-year-olds do. If your 10-year-old is like, mother, the quality of the babysitter is quite imperative at 10, then you need to return your kid, because that's not a kid. That's just a little person pretending to be your kid, and you're getting bamboozled. Regardless, the next day, this like middle-aged lady shows up. She's pretty normal looking, your standard Facebook mom, and she's just pretty normal, I guess. Nothing too crazy, not a super fun babysitter, but nothing to bat an eye at either. She's kind of attentive. She's leaving him alone enough to like let him do his thing, and it's all good. But a couple hours into it, he's eating lunch, and she's kind of sitting there, and she starts telling him about how awesome her kids are and how one of them is his age and they would probably get along really well. And this kid's been bored all summer, you know, so he's like, all right, well, can we go hang out with your kid? And she's like, yes, of course. My kid's your age. He's 10. Oh my goodness, you guys are going to get along so well. He's so funny. He tells the best jokes. She's hyping up her kid, which all moms do for their kid. I'm pretty sure that's like written in the law of being a mom. You have to overwhelmingly hype up your own kid for some reason. You know, like my mom, she's always like, oh, you're so handsome. It's like, mom, listen, okay, I understand that I'm not ugly, but like, let's not pretend that I'm Brad Pitt out here. That's okay. That's all right, mom. Let's just not be delusional. It's also kind of weird that you call me handsome so much, mom. It's bizarre. Stop. I kind of look like you. If you think about it, the fact that moms think that their sons are always so handsome is just kind of egotistical, because you're half your parent. Like, your mom's like, the half that looks like me, that's the hot side. Regardless, she's hyping up her kids, and he's like, all right, let's go. And she lived in his neighborhood, but a street down. So they go to her house, and he walks inside, and she's like, okay, I think they're napping. Let me go wake them up and let them know that you're here to play. And he's like, all right. So the little 10-year-old kid is standing there, and he's looking around, and he's looking, and there's pictures on the walls, and he doesn't see pictures of any kids, which isn't really, I guess, a red flag, but even 10-year-old guy is like, this lady talks about her kids a lot, and there's no pictures of them. And then from the top of the stairs, he hears this lady call out. She's like, all right, come up here, and my kids are ready to hang out. So he goes up there, and he walks into this like loft area, and he's not kidding when he says that there are 2 Cabbage Patch Kids sitting in chairs there. And so he kind of like has this confused look on his face, and she's like, oh yeah, see, they're not very talkative right now, but can you introduce yourself? And he's like, where are the kids? And she says, right there. And she points at the Cabbage Patch Kids. And it's at this point that he realizes that this lady straight up has been talking about Cabbage Patch Kids the whole time and been referring to them as her children and like giving them personality traits, saying that they tell good jokes. This lady is straight up pretending to be a mom to Cabbage Patch Kids. So the kid is obviously a little bit nervous, because it's not every day you're in a stranger's house when they told you had kids to play with, and then you realize that there's somebody who talks to dolls and like straight up is giving them personality traits. It's not like she's like, oh, let's go to my house, I have these dolls you can play with. She was saying, my son is so funny. And it's like, well, your son can't talk, so yeah, you're definitely just a crazy person. And I don't know what it is about crazy people, dude, but I feel like they're the ones that can act the most normal. Like, this lady straight up convinced this kid's mom that she was normal and could be a good babysitter all along. She's just talking to inanimate objects. Do you think she told his mom all about, like, her kids and their personality traits? She's like, wow, she's a mom herself. Look at that. Having no idea that it's really just Cabbage Patch Kids, or at least that's what he thought it was, dude. I guess it could have been like kids that were stuffed and taxidermied, so that way they couldn't talk back to her or leave, you know, some crazy horror movie stuff. But then it gets even weirder. So she's kind of implying that he should start the conversation, and she's like just staring at him. So he, not knowing what to do, is like, hi. And she makes a voice and starts talking for the Cabbage Patch Kids. Like, he says hi, and then, oh, nice to meet you. I'm Timmy. I'm 10. I'm your age. And it's the lady, like, sitting there making voices for the Cabbage Patch Kids as they're having a conversation. And so he's looking at the lady like she's crazy, but every time that he looks at the lady, she kind of is like, gives him this side eye and looks at the kid. So he's having a conversation with this Cabbage Patch Kid, and there is his babysitter who's supposed to be in charge of him, pretending to be a kid, having a conversation with him in a little kid voice, dude. You know, and what's even weirder is as she's having this fake conversation with the kid she's babysitting, she starts complimenting herself, like, in the little kid voice. The Cabbage Patch Kid starts being like, my mom is the best mom ever. She makes me the best mac and cheese. I love my mom. Like, not only is this lady crazy enough to make up that a Cabbage Patch Kid is alive and can talk to her, dude, but then the Cabbage Patch Kid starts, you know, all praise God, and it's his mom just praising his mom out of nowhere, dude. No kid out of nowhere, as soon as they meet another child, is like, my mom is awesome. I mean, I guess some people probably do, but those are the people that we tend to avoid at summer camp, you know, because you're like, look, you're a little too into your mom. They start describing, they're like, my mom's really attractive. You're like, all right, Tim, we can't be friends anymore. Please don't come back ever. All right. Like, that's what this Cabbage Patch Kid is giving off the vibes, the not good vibes. I hate to put a little thing in the middle of the video, but I am going to annoy you guys for a second and ask if you could just take a second to press the like button and comment the word babysitter down below if you're enjoying the video. I know it's annoying. It just genuinely helps the video do a lot better. And I like views, and this is kind of my job, so if you wouldn't mind doing it, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, back to the video. So whatever, this 10-year-old is obviously terrified that this lady is like straight up making up having a child and then being the child roleplay as well. So he's like not wanting to play with the kid, so I guess she thought that he wasn't playing nice enough with her son, because all of a sudden she snaps and she's like, if you're not gonna play nice with my son, then you're gonna go into timeout. And he's like, okay, well, I guess you can put me in timeout. And she's like, oh, you don't want to play nice? And he's like, no, I'll go to timeout. Which, I mean, listen, if I was a kid in this situation, timeout definitely does seem safer than this. But, like, what did she expect? Play nice with my son. Your son's not real, lady. Like, what do you want me to do? Play with this Cabbage Patch Kid nicely? Especially when his mom has his personality? And how am I supposed to relate to a kid who's like, hey, man, want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? No, my mom's awesome. Dude, I'm not hanging out with that kid. This is the kid that doesn't get invited to the sleepovers because he's weird and he has to have a rubber sleeping bag because he pees in it too much. Like, that's not the kid I'm trying to hang out with. So, whatever. She puts him in timeout, which is in this, like, corner. She faces him in the corner and she says, I will come get you when it's time for you to be out of timeout. So he's sitting there and he doesn't really know how much time's passed, but he looked at the clock before he went into timeout. And when he's in timeout, she is just having conversations as if she's these two Cabbage Patch Kids playing. Like, she is playing as if there's two children in that room. And then as the mom is like, hey, don't play too rough, like being a mom to the kids, but she is all three people. It's like a budget version of M. Night Shyamalan Split going on. This lady is straight up like having conversations between kids that aren't real, and the kid is in timeout this whole time, just staring into a corner, realizing that this is his babysitter. And I don't know, 10 is pretty young. Like, I don't know if you can comprehend it at the time, but just imagine the fear when you realize that the person that is responsible for your existence, like your living, right? Literally your life or death, is having a conversation with herself, pretending to be 3 different people that all love her and worship her as a lovely mother, and realizing that if you went missing, no one's ever gonna find you because this lady's probably gonna turn you into a Cabbage Patch Kid. Like, that's not fun. So after an hour, literally after an hour of her talking to herself, pretending to be 3 different people and enjoying it, she comes and is like, "Are you ready to behave now?" And this 10-year-old kid is obviously like, "No, that was terrifying." So he just asks if he can go home. And she's like all offended. "Wow, you don't want to play with my kids?" And he's like, "I was just in timeout for an hour and I feel very bad about disrespecting your kids." Like, he's lying at this point, just trying to get out of here because he realizes that this lady is just unhinged. And she's like, "Fine, but I want you to apologize to the Cabbage Patch Kids." Or she doesn't say Cabbage Patch Kids. "I want you to apologize to my kids before we leave." And he's like, whatever. At this point, he's probably willing to do just about anything to get out of here, because trust me, if I was in this kid's shoes, I'd be like, "Lady, I will apologize to an avocado. I really don't care. Just anything to get out of this situation is fine. As long as I don't have to pretend to be besties with your imaginary children, it's golden." So he has to go back into the room with the Cabbage Patch Kids, and the room is a mess. Like, she had legit been playing with toys and stuff, pretending to be these Cabbage Patch Kids for an hour while he was in timeout. And she's like, "All right, go ahead and apologize." So he walks up to these like Cabbage Patch Kids and apologizes and says he's very sorry and it won't happen again. And next time he comes over, he'll play with them. And she's like, "That's okay. It's all right. Everyone makes mistakes. Say goodbye." And then there's a silence. And then once again, she's like, "Oh, bye." Like, as the kids' voices. And then she says, "All right, let's get you home." So the kid gets his stuff together and is like, "Finally, I'm escaping this absolute crapshoot of a crazy person's house." He gets back home. They're chilling at home for 2 hours. His mom gets home, and his mom and the babysitter talk for a bit. And I guess since they had lived in the neighborhood, they had met like at the community center or something. So they were visiting for a while. And the entire time he's visiting, the kid is just kind of sitting at the stairs watching, waiting for her to leave. So he can tell his mom how absolutely nuts this lady was. And right before she leaves, his mom's like, "Well, we'll hit you up next time we need a babysitter. I'll let you know. Probably later this week, me and his dad are going out, so you can watch him again." And she's like, "Oh, lovely. It'll be so much fun. Da-da-da-da-da." And the mom's like, "Yeah, well, we'll be in touch probably later this week." And the kid is just terrified. Like, "No, I don't want to go back to this lady next week, Mom. Please, 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 please." So finally, after a bit of visiting, the mom leaves and he walks up to her. He's like, or the babysitter leaves and he walks up to his mom. He's like, "Mom, listen. I can't go back there. This lady is delusional. She thinks she has kids that doesn't exist." He tells her everything about, like, the Cabbage Patch Kids that she had tried to make him play with, the timeout, all of it. And his mom is just kind of sitting there like, "All right, well, I don't know why you're lying, but if you don't like her as a babysitter, we don't have to go back to her." Like, his mom straight up thought that this kid was lying just because he didn't want to have her as a babysitter anymore. So his mom is getting mad at him, being like, "You don't have to lie to me. If you just don't like her, like, you can just tell me. It's ridiculous that you have to lie." His mom just straight up doesn't believe that this lady is that unhinged and crazy where she's like talking to inanimate objects. So whatever. The kid is like, "Yep, fine. I just don't want her to babysit me. Just don't let her babysit me anymore." And his mom's like, "All right, that's all you had to say. You know how I feel about lying." To this day, he says his mom doesn't believe him, but he swears it's true. And yeah, basically, thankfully, he never got babysat by her again, but it was too close of a call, in my opinion. A little too close for comfort. Regardless, guys, that was just a fun story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd really appreciate you pressing the like button, commenting down below, as I said. If you really want to support the channel, you can get some of the OG Sub Club merch or some of the haha merch. It's going away eventually, so feel free to get it. If you like the intro song, a link will be down in the description if you want to check it out. Use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout as well for a little bit of a discount. And other than that, if you're new, just take a second and subscribe. I upload story times every single day from myself or stuff that subscribers have sent in, and it's a pretty good time, so subscribe. And if you are going to subscribe, you might as well turn on notifications because the YouTube sub box is really bad, and if you don't have notifications on, you probably won't see the videos, which, I mean, if you don't want to see them, I guess that's your thing. Do what you got to do, but you are really missing out. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, as I said, press the like button, comment down below. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they are hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm going to go buy some Cabbage Patch Kids on eBay, name them, make them YouTube channels, and make commentary videos from their perspective while pretending to do voices for them. My first video is going to be, hey guys, it's Timmy, and I'm going to be exposing Pokimane, unban Leafy, hashtag free Leafy for life.